911.
I've been shot.
You've been shot. Where are you at, Megan?
I'm 8 months pregnant.
How'd this happen?
I was following my baby's daddy, Ray Carruth, a football player.
Where's he
He was
at?
in the car in front of me, and he slowed down, and somebody pulled up beside me and did this.
And then where'd he go?
He just left. I think he did it. I don't know what to think.
Okay.
If anybody out there has never heard of Rae Carruth, he was a former NFL football player. He played here for the Carolina Panthers. He was a wide receiver and a pretty good one during his rookie season. He led all rookies in yards and receptions. Now we're going to go to 1999 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Rae Carruth at the time was dating a girl by the name of Cherica Adams. They met up, were casually dating, and Cherica got pregnant with Ray's baby. Now, conversations being had between both Cherica and Rae, he let it be known that he did not want her to have the child, that he wanted her to have an abortion. And she ultimately downright refused to have it. Rae had a kid with a previous woman while he was a football player playing in college for Colorado. We're going to go to November 16th, 1999. At this time, Cherica is about 8 months pregnant with a baby boy. His name was going to be Chancellor. Rae and Cherica went to a movie on that night to watch The Bone Collector, starring Denzel Washington and Queen Latifah. After they left the movie, they left in separate vehicles. Rae was in his car ahead of Cherica, she right behind him. All of a sudden, Rae stopped his vehicle and a car came to the side of Cherica's vehicle, pulled out a gun, and fired 4 shots. Now, after those shots were fired, that car took off along with Rae Carruth. Luckily enough, Cherica had the wherewithal to grab her cell phone and call 911, and you'll hear this chilling phone call. So, she, in the phone call, identifies Rae Carruth as possibly being involved in this shooting. Immediately, paramedics and police come to the scene and they take Cherica to the hospital where they do an emergency C-section. Chancellor is born that night. Cherica would stay in a coma for about the next month or so, and she sadly passed away December 14th, 1999. Now, there was a lot of evidence pointing to Rae Carruth. He had went to jail and posted a $3 million bond. And if either Cherica or the baby died, he would turn himself in. And of course, the scumbag that he is, he did it. He flees the area. And then now there's a nationwide manhunt for this guy. If you guys remember, during that time, he was the most wanted man in the country. Eventually, they found him in a motel, hiding like the coward that he is in the trunk of a car. When they open up the car, they find him. They draw their guns. Get your hands up. In the trunk with him, bottles of his own urine, a cell phone, $3,900 in cash. A true scumbag through and through. So he is arrested, and 3 people along with him that he hired to kill his girlfriend because he didn't want her to have the baby. They go through the trial. He's being charged with first-degree murder amongst with some other charges, along with Van Brett Watkins, Michael Kennedy, and Stanley Abraham. Eventually, all men would be found guilty, but their charges and what the guilt level of those charges would all differ. Now, Van Brent Watkins was charged and he was convicted of first-degree murder. he was sentenced to 40 to 50 years in prison. And it pays to have money, unfortunately, because Rae Carruth was found not guilty of first-degree murder. He had a ridiculous defense. He claimed that Watkins had approached him about funding a drug deal, and he refused. And Watkins got angry, and instead of taking it out on Rae, he takes it out on Cherica. Rae Carruth ends up getting 18 to 24 years in prison. Michael Kennedy gets 11 years, and Stanley Abraham, he does 3 months. And that's it. Chancellor was born with permanent brain damage and cerebral palsy. And if you look at pictures of him, he looks just like Rae, just like his dad. And this here is the grave of the woman that you murdered. Beloved mother, daughter, granddaughter, and sister. For the last 21, 22 years, Cherica's mother and her grandmother have been raising Chancellor. On October 22nd of 2018, Rae Carruth, and I don't know why, was released from prison. He was granted parole. And all I know is that he moved reportedly to Pennsylvania. Literally, he got away with murder because you should have got the death penalty. You should have got the big needle, for sure. You murdered this girl. And that scumbag, Rae Carruth, has the nerve to write Cherica Adams' mother, Sandra, and say this. I want to read in the letter what he quoted. Quote, "I'd give anything to have the opportunity to do right by Chancellor and to play a meaningful role in his life. I mean, come on, Miss Adams. The reality is you're not going to be around forever." Unquote. Well, I guess you're going to kill her too, huh, Rae?